Shalom, Yashrala. It's your brother Dawud coming at you with another video from GMS Tampa Bay 07. First and foremost, I want to give all praises unto Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shah. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of great millstone that rule well. And salutations to you, I can push this truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth. Alright, we're going to get into this here lesson. To lock it, you know what I'm saying, I have to remake this here lesson, you know. But nevertheless, we doing all things basically for edification's sake for the elect, you know. It would have been easy just to run through these scriptures again, you know, out of frustration just to get it done. But, like the scriptures say, I'd rather speak 5 words, with basically roughly paraphrasing, with much understanding that people may learn, than speak 1,000 words that nobody understands, you know. So, you know, we're not trying to get videos up just to get videos up just to say, all right, I got my quota in. Nah, we putting these videos up to feed the elect. You know, Yahweh said, if you love me, feed my flock, you know. And so, basically, we're not trying to give out no GMOs, you know. You can eat GMOs all day long, but you ain't really getting no nutrients, you know. We're trying to give you that whole food, you know. So sometimes, you know, you gotta go to the little longer routes, you know. You can go to McDonald's and get that quick little food, but, you know, it ain't the same as if you took your time and sat there and cooked something actually healthy for you, you know. So with that, we're going to go ahead and jump off into this here video. And, Lord willing, to be edifying. It's dealing with Esau and his characteristics, you know, his birth, his bio, his characteristics and stuff like that. Basically like the origins of the so-called white man. All right. So we're going to start out here in Genesis 25. I'm going to start at verse 21. And Isaac entreated Yahweh for his wife, because she was barren, and Yahweh was entreated of him. And Rebekah his wife conceived, and the children struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? Then she went and inquired of Yahweh. Okay, so basically, Rebekah was pregnant, and first and foremost, she was to the point where she couldn't have kids, she couldn't conceive and have kids, And Isaac went and prayed to the Most High, basically, to let his wife basically have kids. And so she wound up getting pregnant, and, she was like, well, shit, I couldn't get pregnant beforehand. And now, since my husband went and prayed to the Most High about it, I'm able to get pregnant. So obviously this is something from the Most High. It's a gift from the Most High. But if it's a gift from the Most High, why am I having these pains and stuff like that? Why does it feel like something is going on in my stomach? Not your normal baby movement, And so, jumping down to verse 23. And Yahweh said unto her, well, let me go back. He says, verse 22, and the children, so it says, first and foremost, children, not child. It says, and the children struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? Then she went and inquired of Yahweh. And Yahweh said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and one shall be stronger than the other, and the elder shall serve the younger. Okay, so first and foremost, first of all, she wasn't even pregnant with one child. She was having twins. Okay, now this is going to be real important, because a lot of people want to, think about how they understand racism, and, it's easy for them to be like, oh, you guys are just spewing out racist doctrines and stuff like that, But when you really get into all of this stuff and you really, do due diligence and stuff like that, actually do some research and read and understand, this is all just, it's like that anti-Semitic shit, this is the buzzword, or conspiracy theorists. You could be coming up on uncovering something that actually happened, this is an example, Let's say you actually knew who killed John F. Kennedy, and you had proof. You got the shit on video camera. You standing right next to the nigga who over there shooting him in the head, right? You got the shit on camera. You know who it is, But if they don't want you to bring that out because they don't want to know about it, first thing they're going to say is, oh, he a conspiracy theorist, And then the gullible people, they're like, oh, well, it's basically disregarding anything he says, It's taking credit from, basically from, your word isn't credible, taking credit from the things that you speak about. But nevertheless, like I said, this is going to get into the, somewhat of that racism. Like I said, you read between the lines here and you understand certain things, It's not that one race, one so-called race, as hates the other race because of such on and so forth, when technically these 2 people, other than what the Most High said, You know, they basically the same people. You know, they twin brothers. You know, Jacob and Esau, they twin brothers. The only difference in the separation from the two to make them different is the fact that the Most High put two different spirits into these two twin brothers. You know, so it's basically a spiritual warfare. You know, you basically got good versus evil. It ain't nothing to do with the skin color or nothing like that. You know, we're gonna get into where all this stemmed from. You know, and it's not because he was a so-called black man that the so-called white man didn't like him because of that. You know, because the so-called white man had to grow up. When he first stepped first foot on this planet, you know, he had to grow up with a so-called black mother and a so-called black father and a so-called black brother, so-called black grandparents, and so on and so forth, you know. So it wasn't because of his skin color was a dark-skinned person or anything like that he don't like Jacob, you know. And not only that, when you can read further down into Esau's biography or whatever, you know, and he basically took some wives from, I think he had a wife from Ishmael, and which is the Arabs, and then also, I want to say it was from Cush, or nevertheless it was a Hamite. I believe he had two Hamite wives. But nevertheless, we're going to get back into this. It says, and Yahweh said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb. So there's the first separation to, you know, how in today's terms you call them different races, okay? Now, you can't have 2 different races come out of the same womb, you know? That's not possible. You can't have 2 black people come out with a damn Chinese baby, you know? Well, an actual Chinese person, you know what I'm saying? Because, like, 2 black people could basically have a white child, but that's not a different race, more or less, you know? In today's terms, if you want to understand it, it would be basically like you being albino, you know? If a child is being born, you know, from 2 so-called black parents, and then that child come out and become albino, or throughout the time of their life, they actually go through their transformation, they would have never called that person a so-called white person. They would just say that, you know, they just got out, they have albinoism or whatever it's called, you know. That's all they would say, you know. But nevertheless, it says, and Yahweh said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb. Okay, so the Most High, the one who called them 2 different races, first and foremost. You know, that was the first separation. It says, and 2 manner of people. So 2 manner of people. All right. So for an example about this, you know, they're going to get into it, but I'll give you the example they give. You know, it says, bingo, verse 27, which we're going to get to. 2 different manner of people is an example. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. Okay, 2 polar opposites. You know, you have one person who is basically a hardcore meat eater, and you have one person who's a hardcore vegetarian. You know, they just 2 different manner of people. You know, they have 2 different they just 2 different styles of people. You know, they have 2 different you know, ways of being, more or less to say. But it says, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. So the Most High is the one who put this between the 2. Okay, he put the spirits. He's the creator of the spirits, and he put, you know, programmed these spirits to be this way. So before they was even born, he says, 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. So they're gonna be separated. They're not gonna be together. You know what I'm saying? They're not gonna mix together. They're gonna be oil and water upon one another. You know, they're not gonna grow up being the best of friends or anything like that. They're gonna always be contrary to one another. They started in the womb, struggling in the womb, you know, and fighting inside of there before they was even born. So this stems from, you know, before birth, you know, inside the womb, you know. So you can't be like, oh, well, you know, the so-called white man don't like the so-called black man because he has black skin. That's not the case at all. It was the Most High who put these spirits upon these 2 people to be the way that they are, you know. And it says, and when her days to be, now also it says, and the elder shall serve the younger. Okay, so, you know, basically Esau, you know, he you know, that was a prophecy to be fulfilled. You know, again, before they was even born, that basically Esau was going to be going into slavery under Jacob. You know, but nevertheless, it says, verse 24. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red. Let me go back. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. Okay? So, again, you have twins being born at the same time. Well, one, you know, on the same day, you know. And in reality, you know, they was actually born pretty much at the same time, you know. The first came out, And then the second one came out, you know. You don't time a baby from being born, you know, you see the head come out, and then you be like, okay, the head came out at 2 o'clock, and the feet came out at 2:02. So you got two different births. Nah, you just be like, okay, well, when the baby come out, you know, that's just the time, you know. And you basically going to have, right here, let me just read it on down. It says, the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And after that, his brother came out, and his hand took hold of Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them. So, yeah, like I said, they was basically born pretty much at the same time. Esau was born, and then, you know, as, you know, his head came out, more or less to say, head first, and then as his feet was coming out, before you got down to them ankles, you seen a hand attached to them feet, you know. And as they was pulling one baby out, the next baby slid right on out right after them, you know. There wasn't no time in between or whatever. It says he was holding on to his heel. So he was basically born at the same time, you know, from the two same parents. But again, it was the Most High who put that spirit on them to separate them, you know, the two from one another. Let me go back up. And it says, verse 25, and the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. Okay? Now this Esau is going into, let me see if they give you the correct definition here. See, they say hairy, but yeah, they don't give you the actual definition here, but Esau here is let me see if they even give you the right word, which they don't, because they use like Esau. Yeah. Yeah, so they don't even have the correct pronunciation of his name. His name is Ashashua, you know, wasted away is he. Okay, and why do they name him wasted away is he? Because again, he has so-called two parents of what they would call of color. You know, they were so-called black people. You know, and he came out, and basically his skin pigmentation was wasted away. You know, and all that is just he had melanin deficiency. He didn't have melanin in his skin. You know, it's just like when you look at any baby when they first born. You know, they come out real light, if not white looking. You know, and their eyes are a really, really bright color. You know, and then they, you know, as the time progresses, the melanin starts filling in. You know, the skin gets a little more color to it. You know, and the eyes as well. You know, my little niece, when my little niece was born, she was really, 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 really light skinned. Okay, and I mean she's not really relatively too dark now, but I mean she's a lot darker than when she was born. You know, and this isn't because of she just all out in the sun and stuff like that, nothing like that. And also her eyes, when she was born, her eyes was I believe either like blue or green, but she went through like 4 or 5 different eye colors. You know, by the time she was like 1 or 2 years old, that was when she actually had her full brown eyes. You know. But she went through a stage like blue, green, gray, and then almost like a light honey color, or you know, before they turn, you know, brown like they are now. You know, it was a different color, but that was just basically the melanin being, you know, she was getting the melanin in her skin, you know. But Esau, in his case, he didn't have that how do you say? He didn't have that melanin being produced, you know, and you know, that's basically what was going on with him. And not only that, you know, Esau is in the reincarnation of Cain, you know. And the Most High said about Cain, you know, Cain was like, oh, this burden is too much for me to bear, so on and so forth, you know. And the Most High basically was like, we're going to put a mark on Cain, that Cain basically, so, you know, it was like, Cain basically was like, look, this is too much for me to bear. Anybody who see me, they're going to know, and then they're going to just basically kill me, you know. So the Most High was like, nah, they ain't going to do all that. I'm going to put a mark on you, you know, to let people know who you are or whatever, whatnot. And basically, if they try to kill you or whatever, he's the Most High going to basically punish him, you know. And so as time progressed, you know, that mark was that basically is that skin color, you know. He's the only person on the planet Earth that's not a person of color. Everybody else on the planet Earth is a person of color. You know, even the Chinese people, you know, they still have color, you know. We would be like, oh, they like yellow or something like that, you know. They still have color. Even when you see you know, this is a way to be able to tell, you know, don't get fooled by that so-called light colored skin, because you have some Hispanics or like some so-called Mexicans or some so-called Puerto Ricans, you know, that are just as white as so-called white people, you know, if not just, you know, the same color or if not lighter, you know, but they still have melanin inside of their skin. And one thing about them, well, melanin protects your skin from like getting skin cancer and being sunburnt and stuff like that. You see some of these really light-skinned, like Puerto Ricans or whatever, that's the same color as these so-called white folks, and they can be out in the sun all day long. They ain't getting no sunburns or nothing like that. No, you know, they don't have no skin issues like that because they still have melanin in their skin, you know, and it's doing its job. Whereas, you know, the so-called white man, you know, he needs sunscreen. You know, he has to have that artificial melanin. That's why they even have that invention. He's the only person that needs that, you know. Not really anybody else. We don't need that sunblock, you know. It's just him. But nevertheless, verse 27, and the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. Okay, given some of the characteristics of Esau, it says he was a cunning hunter, a man of the field. First of all, Esau, like, you know, for him, a good day for him is going out in the woods, going mudding, going camping out in the woods, going hiking, mountain climbing. You know, he like being outside, outdoor. He a real outdoorsman, you know. He like being all out and see us. Jacob was a plain man doing the tents. We don't got time to be out there with the mosquitoes, the flies, the bugs. We just want to sit in the house and chill. You know, we like to kick back and enjoy our peoples, you know, our friends and our relatives, you know, friends, family, and relatives, you know. We just want to just kick back and relax. On the weekend for us, a good weekend for us is, hey, we just sat back at the house this weekend. We might have grilled or something like that, had a little get together, you know. Esau, he ain't happy unless he, you know, he got to go hunting, you know. Hell, I know some Edomites that on their way to work, they stop off and go fishing a little bit, or they might go hunt a little bit. You know, they ride around with the little gun in the back of the window just in case they ride and they see a deer, they want to go pop it off real quick, you know. They a man of the field, you know. And when it talks about it being a cunning hunter, you know, Esau's that real cunning hunter. You know, he's the one with the duck calls and the deer piss and all this stuff like that. You know, he go and sit up in a tree for hours on end with, you know, some deer piss on him or some shit like that, and have a deer call and just waiting all day in a tree, knowing how, you know, how to lure these animals in. You know, if we was to go hunt, we're gonna go look for the animal. Esau's the type of person that'll go up there and hide and set up certain little traps and stuff like that and draw the animal onto him, you know. And not just with animals and stuff like that. He also know how to hunt human beings, you know. He know how to track down people and stuff like that. You know, you see his technology and the things he's got going on, you know. And then not only that, you know, he know how to hunt your mind and hunt your brain, you know. Look at all his, how he controls the so-called black community, you know. He know how to hunt us down. He know how to give us hip-hop music. Just look at the prison industrial complex and then look at the ties between that and hip hop music. Okay, look at how much they make per inmate per year, you know, and look at how much they pay these celebrities or these hip hop artists to make songs like what that nigga said. He said Percocets, Molly Percocets. This nigga got a whole song where the damn chorus is just Percocets, Molly Percocets, you know, and it's like. Especially Jake. Jake don't. That's the so-called idols in our community leaders and shit like that. You know, our people, we look at them and we go to them for guidance. You know, whatever they say do. Shit, Lil Wayne come out drinking lean. Now all our people drinking lean. Lil Wayne go get tatted in the face. Everybody go get tatted in the face. You know, Lil Wayne go get dreads. Everybody got dreads. You know, these are our so-called community leaders. These are our so-called idols who we look up to. You know. And we follow after.
So these prison and industrial complexes, you know, they get together because they make money up off of inmates, you know. So they'll be like, look, we're going to go pay somebody to come out with a song or some shit like Molly Percocets, you know, and lean and shit like that. And we riding around, we riding dirty and shit like that, you know. So we don't feel like we content unless we doing what they talk about in the rap song, you know. We don't feel like we good until we riding around riding dirty. Now the police come and pick us up because they already know the majority, you know, they first of all, they roll up next to you, see you banging that shit, you know. You over here nodding your head to this, just banging Percocets, Somali Percocets. And then it's like, okay, now let's go over here and check this here car, you know. And then now all of a sudden they got some drugs, now they got you inside that damn facility, you know, and they making money off of your ass, you know. He know how to hunt your ass. He know that you're going to be gullible to listening to this music and following after that. And then he just trapped your ass into the prison industrial complex. Now he got basically free labor up off your ass. And he making money basically for having you inside of those prison complexes, you know. So Esau, know he's a real cunning hunter. He know how to hunt you in all kinds of ways, you know. It says, verse 28. And Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison, but Rebekah loved Jacob, you know. Jacob was, you know, like how we are, mama's boys, you know. We grew up in the household without our fathers and stuff like that, you know. We closer to our moms. You could do whatever you want to do to us, just don't talk about our mama, you know. But Esau, you know, when it comes to so-called white people and stuff like that, they be real proud about what their sons be doing and passing stuff down to their son and so on and so forth, you know. They have a real close father-son relationship. It says, and Jacob, verse 29, and Jacob saw pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. Okay? Now, let me read the next verse. And Esau said unto Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore his name was called Edom. Now, Edom goes into basically red, you know. Let's see if they get that right. Yep, see, they have it here. And there we go. Because we were going to get into this a little later. It says, Edom means red, or Edom, or Edomite, Idumean, descendants of Esau, the land of Edom, Idumea, land southeast of Palestine. So basically, Edom, you know, Edom, meaning red, you know, and that "ite" at the end is like the people. So Edomites, or the people that descend from Esau, you know, or Idumean, which is a Greek way of saying, you know, how do you say Edom? Idumean is a Greek way of saying Edomite. Okay. But it says, and Jacob saw pottage, and Esau came from the field, and said, and Jacob saw pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. And Esau said unto Jacob, feed me, I pray thee with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore his name was called Edom. Now, the food wasn't even all the way done, you know. And Esau came in, and he wanted that same red pottage. Same red as what? What is it the same as, you know? So, you know, like we said, Esau came out wasted away as he. So he came out lacking melanin. He was a so-called white man, you know. Like you see these so-called white people today. You know, you see them. They have a term for them down here in the South. You know, they call them rednecks, you know. Why? Because they neck be all red whenever they do certain things, you know, or their whole face be red. You know, they get excited, embarrassed, things like that. They blush. You can see, they basically have transparent skin. You can see the blood going through their skin, you know. And they rosy red cheeks, they face, anything like that, you know. Now, imagine, or YouTube any marathon, you know. And look at the end of the marathon when those so-called Edomites, or those Edomites are running across that finish line. You know what they look like. They all out of breath, panting, all red in the face, pale and red in the face, you know. That's like how Esau was. They was faint, you know. But then at the same time, like I said, they be all red in the face. So Esau came in, like, you know, he was out hunting, he all tired. He like, yo, I'm basically, like he just ran a marathon, huffing and puffing, all red in the face and shit like that. And he's like, look, feed me with that same red pottage, just like me. Look, feed me that same shit, you know. And, you know, like for us, like the scriptures say, the spirit bear witness with our spirit that we're the children of the Most High. Same with, you know, everybody else, you know. Spirit bear witness with Esau that he do damn wicked. Look at the shit he doing, you know. same shit, you know. But also in this sense, he wanted that same red pottage. And, you know, looking at the spirit bearer witness, who still like that damn red, uncooked, all the way meat to this day? Only people on the planet Earth who like what they call rare, you know, rare meat with the blood still in it. That's Esau, or the so-called white man. He still be wanting that same red pottage, same red as him. You know, he like his meat just like him. You know, not all the way done. He wasn't all the way done. His melanin didn't get completed. You know, he wasn't fully browned on both sides, just like the meat he want. He just wanted it in for a quick little second here and out. You know, and he ready to eat it. And Jacob said, "Sell me this day thy birthright." And Esau said, "Behold, I am at the point to die. What profit shall this birthright do me?" And Jacob said, "Swear unto me this day." And he swore unto him and sold his birthright unto Jacob. Okay? So, contrary to Christian belief, you know, when you ask, you know, these Christians about these folks about Jacob and Esau, they're like, "Oh yeah, I know who Jacob is. Jacob stole the birthright from Esau." You know? And that's one thing, that's like pretty much the only thing they know about Jacob and Esau, you know? The only thing they really know about Jacob and Esau is that Jacob stole the birthright from Esau, you know? But if they actually did their due diligence and reading, it says here, look, they made a deal. He says, you know, and Jacob says, "Sell me this day thy birthright," you know? And Esau was like, "Well, shit, what good is my birthright if I'm finna die?" And Jacob says, "Swear unto me this day, like, look, make a deal with me, sign this paperwork," you know what I'm saying? More or less to say, look, put it in writing. Swear unto me this day, you know, just so you don't say I gypped you or nothing like that. We're gonna have basically a witness, you know. Swear unto me this day, and he swore unto him and sold his birthright unto Jacob. Didn't say Jacob stole the birthright. It says Esau sold it unto Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils, and he did eat and drink and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. So Esau didn't even like the birthright after that. He got his little belly full and kept it moving, you know. And his character, he more for the short, quick, temporary fix than the bigger picture, you know. He was trying to just feed his belly for that day, and instead of in the bigger picture. And the same way they do today, you know. Like I happen to work in more or less like manufacturing, more or less to say, you know, around big machinery and equipment and stuff like that, you know. And you know, at my job, one of the biggest pet peeves I have with them is they like putting little Band-Aids on shit and never really fixing nothing, you know? And I'm like, man, you know, we produce a lot of units day in, day out, you know? About 120,000 units every damn day, you know? And then you just like, look, man, we don't want to take no downtime, you know? And we're going to just want to get by. So, you know, if you need to go and fix your problem, it might take you 30 minutes to fix it. That means we're not going to be running for 30 minutes, you know. But at the rate you're running now, you know, you at like 65% efficiency. So you're only selling about 65% of your product that you're manufacturing, you know. So the rest of it is basically just going in the trash and you're just wasting your time. But that shit will add up at the end of the night, you know. When you add all that shit up at the end of the night, you're like, damn, I done lost 2 or 3 hours of production time. You know, I could have just, you know, save some time. For 2 or 3 hours, I was just over here busting my ass doing nothing, you know. But Esau's like, look, at least we making money right now. If we can get by today, we're going to keep moving, you know. But you done lost a whole hour of downtime throughout the whole, you know, your whole, let's say 8 hours. And that whole 8 hours, throughout that whole 8 hours, somewhere in there, you done lost a whole hour of downtime. It's, you know, but instead they'd rather put that little Band-Aid on it instead of taking, you know, 30 minutes of straight solid downtime or 30 minutes and fixing that issue. You know, they'd rather just put a Band-Aid on it. Where that issue, that Band-Aid gonna get old and it's gonna fall off and that wound gonna open right back up and it's never gonna heal, you know? So they just like doing that same shit, you know. They always thinking for the right now, not into the longer picture, the bigger picture, you know. If we can go ahead and fix this shit, we could be running at damn near 100% day after day after day after day, and we could move on to the next project. But we always putting Band-Aids on it. So every day we run at 65%, and we got to make up the rest of the shit, you know, the other, 35% at the end of the damn, at the end of the week, every week, you know. But nevertheless, you know, this is how Esau is, you know. He was like, look, let me feed my belly for right here, right now, today, and I'll deal with the rest of this shit tomorrow whenever it come up, you know, instead of looking at the bigger picture, you know. But nevertheless, you know, that's just part of Esau and his characteristics. Oh, shit, I fucked up. Jumping over to Genesis 27. And this is verse 40. I'm sorry, verse 40. Well, we started, give you some context. We'll start at verse 38. And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me even also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. So you don't quite understand what's going on here. You know, you can read up on it. Basically, you know, Isaac was about to die. He was getting old, so he was blessing his sons, basically passing down, you know, how you say when you inherit something, he's just basically passing stuff on down, blessing his sons, you know. But Jacob wound up getting the firstborn's blessing, you know, because Isaac was going blind and Rebekah wound up dressing Jacob up like Esau, so he went in there and thought it was Esau, and he blessed Jacob with it, you know. But through the Spirit, the Most High had already said basically Jacob was going to have that birthright, you know. So this wasn't no Rebekah being deceitful or nothing like that, because this was the plan of the Most High, you know. The Most High had already had ordained this to happen. They was just the tools into making it, you know, making it work out, you know. But, you know, and like we just read, Esau despised his birthright. He gave it up for a little piece of meat, you know. But then it says, Esau said unto his father, Hast thou had but one blessing, O my father? Bless me even also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. So now it's hitting him now, you know, like I was just explaining about that Band-Aid versus fixing something. He didn't put that Band-Aid on it just to eat that day, but now, you know, he looking at the bigger picture, and he's like, oh shit, I don't really have nothing no more, you know. He was only worried about feeding his belly for that one day, but now look at him now. You know, he ain't really gonna have no substance. Well, he got some substance, but he would have way more substance overall, you know. He was just thinking about feeding himself for that one day, whereas, you know, theoretically you could have fed yourself every day, you know, and even more abundantly, you know. But yet you gave that all up for just one little quick fix right here and there, you know. Verse 39, and Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and the dew of the heaven from above. And by thy sword, let me go back. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of the heaven above. So as you see right now, Esau basically is inhabiting all of the whole planet Earth. Everything is in his subjection, more or less to say, you know. And you know, he got his puppet governments and stuff like that. Prime example, you would say, well, how is the so-called white man ruling Iraq, you know? Let's say before when Saddam Hussein was alive, you know? Saddam Hussein or Muammar Gaddafi, you know, both of those guys wanted to change their currency, you know? They wanted to get up off of that, using the petrodollar more or less to sell their oil. And look what happened to them, you know? Look at Bashar al-Assad, you know, he doing his thing over there. But yet America want regime change, and so we over there blowing their shit up over there, you know, and all these other countries. So these people who so-called managing these positions, they don't really own these positions. They just workers, you know. Esau is pretty much in control of these things. He's got the right to say, look, this the red line. If you do this in your country, we're gonna blow your ass up, you know. Like, look at North Korea. Look at Iran. Hey, if y'all continue with y'all nuclear program, we're gonna blow y'all ass up, you know. So Esau has got the fatness of the earth, you know. Verse 40, and by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion, thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. So, more or less to say, you know, it says, by thy sword thou shalt live, okay? So for, you know, all of Esau's possessions, all the things he got, and all the things he, you know, for him to so-called prosper in this earth, you know, everything he got basically, you know how people say, you know, all that you got by stealing. You know, basically this is like how Esau did. You know, he had to rape, rob, and murder for his, you know, everything he got, all his accomplishments that, you know, any accomplishments that he do have, he either stole it, you know, was an imposter and took credit for it, or he just killed you for it, you know. Prime example, this here Landmass America. The reason he can call himself an American, to so-called be proud to be an American, to sit over here and dictate from over here and be on, you know, rule the planet Earth from over on his side is the fact that he came over here and he stole this land from the Native Americans, you know. He didn't buy this land. He didn't trade or barter for this land. He wasn't invited over here. He just came over here and by his sword, that Gatling gun, or I think at that time it was called Hotchkiss guns, basically like a Gatling gun, and with smallpox, chemical, biological warfare, Esau came over here with his sword and killed every damn body, you know. And now he inhabits this land. And as you see in the Middle East, he's trying to do the same damn thing, you know, with his predator drones and his bombs and shit like that. You know, the reason he became the sole superpower for a point in time and everybody bowed down unto him was because of his sword that he dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. You know, by Esau's sword, he got everything he got. All his position, his respect, everything he got is because of his damn sword. You know, how do you think he got us in so much subjection right here in America? You know, lynching, killing, you know, all that stuff that he was doing to us, all that type of stuff. We learned by example. You know, what would happen if we didn't get right up under Esau? He was gonna pull that sword out, and he was, you know, he real handy with his sword. You know. Verse 41. Now, getting back into this racism, it says, and Esau hated Jacob. Okay, not Jacob hated Esau. So just to, you know, break down who these people are in today's terms, I'll read it that way. And the so-called white man hated the so-called black man. Okay, not because of skin color, not because of none of this stuff going on or nothing like that. Basically because he was a bitch ass nigga. You know, he done did some shit and then he regretted this shit. Now he want to be a hater about it. You know, he sold his birthright. Now he jealous, you know. But it says, and Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing where when his father blessed him. Okay, so, you know, he gave up his birthright. He rightfully sold it, you know. It's like, you know, you got this car or whatever, you know, and you think it's all broke the fuck down and all raggedy, this and that. And you go and you give it away to somebody like, man, you can have this broke motherfucker, this and that. You know, it was a nice car, you liked it, everything, but you didn't gave it away. And the person found out, oh shit, nigga, the battery was dead. Now they went and spent like $70 threw a new battery in the car. Now the car driving like brand new, and you see the car. Now you want to go get the car back, and you all mad. Oh, I'm gonna go kill this nigga and take my car back. Nah, you could have sold the car. You know, you could have seen what was wrong with it. You could have fixed it. You could have did all of that stuff. But no, you decided to be all mad about the shit and just give it away. Basically, you threw it away to somebody who took it. Then they took it and they built it up. You know, went and replaced the battery, found out what was wrong with it. Now they got them a car for just the price of the battery, and you all mad and you want it back, you know? Basically what Esau was doing. And it says, verse 41 again, and Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. So basically, you know, this is when Isaac was still breathing. You know, Esau was like, look, listen, when my pops die, I'm about to kill my brother, you know? I'm going to kill my brother because basically, you know, I don't know how he said it in his mind, you know, but the reality of it was Esau done sold his birthright. Now he just want the shit back. He all butt hurt now because he didn't realize he done fucked up, you know? You know you fucked up, right? Yeah, you know you fucked up, right? Basically, Esau just realized he caught the ultimate L, and now he want to be all mad about this shit, you know? He need to take the responsibility and be accountable for his actions. You know, stop being a bitch and want to take it out and genocide, you know, his twin brother over some bullshit he did, you know? When we fed him when he was on, we ain't going to get into that, but. And these words Esau, her elder son, were told to Rebekah, and she sent and called Jacob, her younger son, and said unto him, behold, thy brother Esau, as touching thee, does comfort himself, purposing to kill thee. Okay? So basically Esau, look, in order to comfort himself, you know, some people might be stressed out and they got like a little stress ball or something, you know? Or, you know, some people, you know, when things go wrong or things get bad for them, they want to have a drink to calm themselves down or whatever, you know, stuff like that. But Esau and his deal, you know what I'm saying, he all frustrated and shit like that, but he's like, you know what, to cool off, to get my little woosah moment, I got to kill this nigga, you know? That's basically what he said. I'm going to be straight if I just kill this nigga, you know? Everything would be cool if I kill this nigga. I can have my spot back, you know? But nevertheless, you know, that's just, you know, how Esau get down. Because he's a jealous-ass reprobate. And we already kind of went into this in the definition. But we're going to get it in the scriptures real quick. This is Genesis chapter 36. I'm going to read verse 1 and I think verse 43. Yeah. This is Genesis 36 and 1. Now, these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom. Okay? So, Esau, okay, they're telling you Esau, whose name, you know, Ashashua, wasted away as he, name was changed unto Edom, which is red. So, when you go in the scriptures, you can understand this all being the same person. Esau, Edom, the Edomites, or Idumea. Okay? And they also go by other little nicknames like Mount Seir,
or Seir. And in certain places, Babylon, the Chaldeans, the Assyrian, the Egyptian. But you'll understand those scenarios, when you're reading upon those things, because especially Assyria and Egypt, that's where, we went into captivity in those places early off, And once you're in a different location, like let's say you was in the Medo-Persian captivity. We didn't go back into captivity in Egypt, at that point in time. Like, we went there first, So you could understand what they was talking about just by the context and the time that they was in. But nevertheless, see, look, here it is. I was speaking about this earlier. And Esau took his wives of the daughter of Canaan, So basically, I believe that's a Hamite. And the Hittite, that's also, I believe, another Hamite. And also the Hivites. And then he also took Ishmael's daughter. So, like I said, it's not because, the so-called white man don't like you because of the so-called black skin you got. His wives right here, he had, I think, 2 so-called African wives and 1 so-called Arab wife. Both of them are people of color, Jumping down to verse 43, it says, Duke Magdiel and Duke Aram, these are the dukes of Edom, according to their habitation in their land, in the land of their possession. He is Esau, the father of the Edomites. Okay, just giving the backdrop of who is Esau, the Edomites, Idumea, who these people are. They all in the same people, Esau more or less would be the progenitor, or the head of the whole family, and then the Edomites would be his descendants. Okay. Like you have Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel. You have Israel as the person, and then you have the Israelites, the children of Israel, or the children of Jacob, Jacob's children, Actually, we're going to stop the video here. We're going to come back on the other side so we don't get cut off and lose this video again.